I have to finish it off. It's only right. It's not confusing, but like my head is spinning. And I'm dirty. It's my business.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. 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 Oh, light, let it shine, shine. Make it blind, watch me shine, shine. Fly high, nothing you could tell me. I ain't looking down, feeling so free. Glowing up, I'ma shine, shine. VVS, shine like VVS. Medicated like a CVS. A1 chef, I've been cooking up. They want all the ingredients.
Hello there. Welcome. Today is my first day of MCAT studying. If you're new here, my name is Brelynn. Welcome to my channel. This is a part of my road to medicine where I'm becoming Dr. Brelynn. And as of November 28th, 2022, you do need a passing score on your medical college admissions test, aka the MCAT, in order to get accepted into medical school. So I have until January 14th, 2023 to study my butt off and get the best score possible on the MCAT. As per usual, I'm documenting my journey, so welcome. Now, if you are new here, this is not my first time around the block. The last time I took the MCAT was in 2021 and I definitely had a difficult time with it. This time, circumstances are different. We're coming at it differently. On the agenda for the first day of MCAT studying is taking the diagnostic test because I haven't sat down to take the 7-hour test in about 2 years. I need to see where I stand, and then in today's video we're going to create our study plan, purchase our resources, look into our books, create our Kaplan account, and all of the above. If you guys are wanting more information on my master's program, where I'm receiving my master's of health science from Meharry Medical College as a part of their pre-matriculation program into their medical school, which is the reason why I'm retaking my MCAT, and because I couldn't get into medical school with my other score, then I will leave my Becoming Dr. Brelynn playlist up here. This is today's breakfast of the day: eggs with spinach, bacon, and toast. I'm also gonna have some applesauce. Also, say hello to this season's Comfort Starbucks tumbler. I have decided that I'm gonna start collecting these, and isn't this so cute? I put up my Christmas tree the other day, and so now the entire vibe in my study area is going to be like black, white, and gold. So this is gonna be our tumbler of the season. I love a good aesthetic. It helps me get through the day. My goal throughout studying for the MCAT this time is to make sure that I am continuously taking care of my mind, my body, my spirit, my emotions. I don't want to get into depression even though the sun is setting literally at 4 p.m. I don't want to doubt myself and get stressed out and gain a whole bunch of weight. I'm not doing that this time. So if you're interested in joining me on this journey, make sure you subscribe. It's almost 8 a.m. so I'm gonna finish eating my breakfast and then we're gonna sit down and take this diagnostic test. So I normally do all of my classes and studying here at my desk, but I decided that since I'm up early enough, I'm gonna go down to the study pod here in my apartment complex because this window can get pretty loud throughout the day, and it doesn't really matter if I'm like taking class, but during an exam I should probably have it as quiet as possible. So I think that's everything. Hopefully there's a study pod open. Let's go see. okay, I'm free. I ended up coming back upstairs here to my study desk because it was actually really loud in the pods. It's like close to a door, and every time somebody opens and closes it, they slam it. The guy in the pod next to me was talking on the phone, like on speaker in a different language. It was just so loud and I just could not focus. And I'm gonna go into detail about how I feel about each section, but as of right now, I actually have 10 minutes before my meeting today. This meeting is with the Meharry admissions team. As a part of MHS, we get great perks like this. This is the preparation for medical school meeting. I'm very interested to see what they're gonna talk about, and I wanna be on my best behavior. So I'm gonna take off my sweater, put on a blazer, because they usually like for us to have our cameras on, and then I'll let you guys know what I learned after the meeting.
Meeting the contract of the program that we will hopefully see you soon.
This class does in fact have a contract with Meharry Medical College in terms of admissions to the incoming class. You guys should all be very familiar with the contract and the stipulations of the contract. You guys are familiar with the GPA requirements. You will be required to maintain a GPA by contract of a 3.5. Dr. Dennock is correct still. And GP and MCAT score will be 503 for the contract this year. That's right. Have an interview conducted by a member of the executive interview committee, and then you will be granted, if everything goes well during that interview, will be admitted into the class of 20 and 27 it is now.
You guys, okay, so I just announced my Birth Equity for All advocacy page. This is my passion project for maternal and infant mortality, and I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it my whole 1 week of winter break. This is really what I was working on, and I have everything together, so I posted about it today. The Instagram is now alive and running. If you're not already, follow us at Birth Equity for All. So excited. Okay, don't kill me. I know you guys want to hear about this meeting and you want to hear about the MCAT, but I have another meeting right now that I have to hop on to, so we'll talk after this. Okay, so I'm actually about to head out. I changed my pants and I'm putting back on my blazer. I'm gonna go to church. So they are having an altar night tonight, and this is my first time going to any of their like after hours type of events, but yeah, I thought this one was really important, especially with the season and everything. And this is the last one of the year, and we're basically doing this thing where we're writing down our prayers and then we're gonna burn them up. I know it sounds absolutely, I mean, it doesn't sound crazy, but I'm not giving you guys the full rundown explanation of everything, but it sounds like it's going to be a very important and impactful night, and that it's really going to set me up for success in my future. So I wanted to make sure that I went. I'm just packing my bag right now. Obviously, I have a lot of prayers for the season, so I didn't want to miss out on this opportunity. I took my hair down. It's been looking crazy. This is always the moment of truth. What shoes do I want to wear? I think I'm gonna leave y'all here. So I'll talk to you guys when I get back. Why did I remember as soon as I walked out the door? What is this on my lens? I thought that was the lighting behind me, but apparently y'all got a little something on you. Where's it, the lighting? Am I tripping? I know y'all see this, right? Is it the lighting? Is the lighting behind me? Anyway, okay, focus. Y'all, Why did I completely forget that I had extra credit due today at midnight? And I normally don't wait until the last minute, like, at all. I'm the type of person where I do it as soon as I'm assigned. However, she sent this. This is in our cell and molecular biology class, and she sent this after our final. This was the last final we took last Monday. So I was minding my business. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. You know, I literally have not sat down at this desk. I think I have, but not like to do work, like opened up my work laptop like since last Monday. And I have no shame. So yeah, I was like, I just kept procrastinating even though it's literally like 5 questions. So I'm like, where is it? I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna eat. Y'all, don't judge me. I still have Thanksgiving leftovers. It's only been a couple of days. Like, I think I only ate it twice. And in my defense, I specifically asked my mom like to make me a pan of macaroni and a pan of her stuffing. And she also gave me like green beans, ham, turkey wings. So I literally have like the entire feast in my refrigerator. Like, it's a whole big pan of like little sections of food. So I have to finish it off. It's only right. Let me figure this out and then I'm gonna eat dinner and I'll be back. Okay, y'all. The moment we've all been waiting for, the MCAT full-length practice exam, the diagnostic test review. How did it go? We can see that I'm smiling, so it couldn't have gone that bad. The last time I took my diagnostic test, I was literally like crying. Afterwards, I was like, I'm so sad. And I took a minute to gather myself. I've been kind of busy. You guys, you've definitely seen it on Instagram by this point, but I just got like this amazing opportunity while all of this is going on. So I'm literally like getting outfits together, getting ready to book a flight to LA for this Black and Unlimited creator program by Issa Rae and Hooray Media. So honestly, like, I'm just on cloud 9 right now and nothing's gonna bring me down, but I have nothing to bring me down because my diagnostic went pretty well. So overall, I will say I made like little notes here on my scratch sheet of paper. I'm not gonna tell you on my score because it's just a little bit too personal, you know. You just take the score very personally, and you like it's not a great score. Like, I'm not gonna get into medical school with it, but it's better than what I scored on my actual MCAT a couple of years ago, which I'm really excited about because I was kind of nervous that I would be worse. Even if it was a couple of points off, I thought, okay, I'm gonna probably have to work to get back to where I was when I took my test, when I thought that like I knew everything and I was at my best and I couldn't really move past that score very much. And then I'm gonna have to try and like surpass that. But I can definitely say so far that the meharry program, the different classes that we're taking, is preparing me for the MCAT. Now, it wasn't like a huge jump, but it was a couple of numbers. It was like four points higher. And I mean, granted, it's been like 6 months, so, but for it not to be like dedicated MCAT studying and for it to be multiple years and for it to be 4 points higher, I'm like, okay, like, and this is just the diagnostic. This is before I'm even starting to study. I feel encouraged. I feel good. I still have work to do, but I feel like, okay, it's not too bad. Now, what was bad was like sitting down and taking the test. Like I said, I'm not burnt out. I feel more well rested now that I took a whole week break. I'm glad I did take that break, but I'm definitely going to need the multiple practice exams and like the full length practice exams, because sitting there for that long trying to focus was like brutal. You guys saw that I tried to take it downstairs in the study pods. I told you guys it ended up being really loud there. The guy in the pod next to me was on the phone on the speaker. The door was opening and closing. Like they were like taking tours. So it wasn't as quiet as I thought it was going to be. It was really loud, which was really distracting. So for Chem Phys in the beginning, I literally ended up having 3 minutes left to finish. What I ended up realizing is that the discrete questions I went in on, I was like, okay, this looks more familiar to me now. But the passages are still very like, what are y'all talking about in these passages? So that's what I need to work on. My Chem Phys and my biochem scores like went up from, again, what my actual exam was a few years ago, and then also just like my average. Like what I scored was like my average that I always did. These were like both 2-3 points higher. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like my Chem Phys score was like higher. Like I thought that I bombed Chem Phys. I literally was like, Chem Phys is going to be the section that I really need to put the work in, because biochem, I feel like a lot of our classes in the meharry curriculum geared towards biochem, and I was always really strong in sociology and psychology. And cars is kind of like a hit or miss for me. It's my second highest scoring one, but I have to have a good day, or it really just depends on the passages. But I actually end up scoring like way below my averages for cars and psych soc, which I'm not surprised about, because I feel like I've been consistently practicing like chem phys, not physiology, but chemistry, biochemistry, and biology. But you know, it takes like that stamina to be able to go through your cars passages quickly. I ran out of time. I had like 7 seconds left for my my last passage. I haven't reviewed my exam yet. I'm gonna do that later. But I mean, I was literally just like clicking, and it was so hard for me to like read through. I was trying to read through, even like remembering my shortcut on the keys for how like to highlight or to strike through things. Like, I just wasn't familiar with the database as much as I was like last time when I took the test. I was very distracted. It was very hard for me to like, until I scored I think a point or two lower than what I did on the regular exam. I can't remember my breakdown exactly, but I'm like, come on, cars. But I think that cars is something where in 6 weeks, me doing 4 to 6 passages every day, which is a part of my goal, I think that in 6 weeks with me doing 4 to 6 passages a day and going back over the basics of like, okay, what are they asking you in the questions? I think that I can see that score improve. For me personally, like cars is something that, to me, those are giving me points to me. Like, I feel more confident, more competent with cars. Like some people, I've seen their Chem Phys scores and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how do you know that information? Like, how do you do it? But for me, it's definitely like the cars and the psych soc. I think everybody kind of feels like psychology and sociology is the easiest section. At least that's how I feel. And I bombed this section, you guys. And I will say, like, I was tired. I was ready to go. I was rushing. Like, in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, I never take the whole hour and 30 minutes for psychology and sociology. Like, maybe I can get this done in like 45 minutes. Like, girl, take your time, you know, like take your entire time. And I think with psychology and sociology, it's the same thing where there's hundreds of terms, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of terms. But once you know it, or once you see it and you're familiar with it, it's very easy to pull it out in their passages and in their questions and get them right. It's just a matter of like familiarity. I always have a hard time saying that word. And so I was familiar with like a lot of the words, the concepts, the studies and stuff, but I'd be like, I forgot. Like, I forgot. Like, Piaget, what? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And it's like, this and this and that. So I need to, like, literally reviewing stuff for them. It's going to be very helpful, reviewing that section, seeing what I got wrong, because this is probably my lowest psychology, sociology score, like, to date. I always do better in this section, but I think I just literally mentally gave up. I also felt like I wasn't fighting for my answers taking this practice exam I wrote down. Like, you know, sometimes you have to be like, I don't know about you guys, but I can really get in my head, especially when it comes to a long exam and it's getting like to the end of the section or the end of the exam. I'm kind of just like, I'm just going to choose this one. But what I've really tried to work on, especially like throughout the program, is being like, no, like, let me really like think, because sometimes I get mad when I go back and I'm like, if you just would have thought for 2 seconds longer, or just sat on this question or looked at it longer or thought about it more, you probably could have gotten it right because you were right there, or you were on the right path, but you kind of just like gave up because like you were tired of thinking, if that makes any sense. And sometimes it's not in a lazy way, sometimes it's like in a time efficient way. Maybe that question is meant to have a little bit more time spent on it in order for you to get it right. Sometimes it's like, it's not always about timing. Like your timing for your questions and answers vary. But anyway, and I also end up changing my location, which I'm not quite sure how much that impacted me. I was like drinking my water during it. I paused my exam one time to take a bathroom break. I have not like trained myself. I tell you what, my bladder has gotten so, I don't know if my bladder is weak or it's the vitamins that I'm taking, or it's because like I'm drinking more water. It's something, but like I have been using the bathroom a lot recently, and going to school virtually, it's very easy. Like, I'll just get up and go to the bathroom. I'll get up and go to the bathroom. I'll just get up and go. Like, I haven't really worked on holding my bladder in a long time. And so I had to take like 2 bathroom breaks. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to work on this, because last time I didn't take I didn't go out of the exam room and take a bathroom break in between Chem Phys and cars. I like stayed in the exam room and I went out for lunch, and then I stayed in the exam room between biochem and psychology, sociology. I did take all of my breaks, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, or 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes. So 2 10-minute breaks and 1 30-minute break. I did take it fully. I also like watched a YouTube video during my lunch break, and it was just like a regular vlog. It was like a 15-minute vlog, and again, I wouldn't normally do that. And I try to, like, when I would practice before, I would like walk around, and I would just, cause like you are just like sitting with your thoughts for a good 30 minutes. And I remember when I did take the test, my stomach was so, like, you know, queasy. I really couldn't drink the caffeine that I brought with me, and I didn't take the entire 30 minutes. I probably ate in like 15 or 20. So I needed the mental break this time, but like, again, I didn't do it like how I really should do it. The answer choices were A through D. I completely forgot. I was like, oh, there's only 4 answer choices. Like, it kind of felt easier to eliminate them because a lot of the meharry exams are like A through E. So, I mean, it seems like a simple difference, but if you're eliminating choices, I mean, 1 out of 4 versus 1 out of 5, you have better chances of getting it right. Next up, I need to figure out my stuff for Kaplan, log on, check out my books, do a couple of assignments. Tomorrow is our first day of live classes. I believe there's like a live class either every other day or like twice a week, either a Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday for 3 hours. Part of like our boot camp, but I have to do more reading to see if it's actually gonna be worth my time, because 3 hours is a long time. Like, I can get a lot done in that time. And I'm really just gonna work on practice questions, because I think that I really was struggling seeing the information in passage form. So that's my review. I feel like we're starting off from a very good place. Like I said, I feel good about it, and I guess I'm excited to start studying for this MCAT again. I haven't even sat at this desk and prepared for my MCAT season yet. So one thing I'm going to do to get started is to clear out my Anki. So I'm going to export my fall Anki deck. That way, in case anybody ever needs it, if I want to come back to it, I do have access to it. But then I'm going to delete all of these Anki cards from my Anki page, basically. That way I don't have like this enormous 1,000 Anki cards due, which is not necessarily, I mean, kind of is true, but it's kind of not. And I've shown you guys my Anki before, but this is how it looked at the end of the semester. So I had a tab called meharry MHS Fall, and then I had my different classes: biochemistry, telemolecular biology, microbiology, and physiology. There were 3 blocks for each class, so this is how I ended up doing it. I would have the first block. You see, I didn't do so well on my Anki cards. My second block got a little bit better. And in the third block, this is when I figured out how to do my Ankis while also in class. I had an Anki for every single lecture. And then at this point, you would normally see the cards that I needed to review and the cards that were new. And then if I go to, well, I finished this Anki deck, clearly. Now, I'm no Anki pro, but once I finished a block, I basically created this option called old content. That way it wouldn't like send me any more reminders. And that's how I keep it kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But now that this entire semester is done, I'm gonna start a new one, and I'm gonna export it first. I likely will never have to use this again, but you never know. I think that if I need this information again, I likely won't go back to it in an Anki deck. I'll go back to it in my notes. So I'm going to delete this deck now. And now we're just left with this deck that I downloaded in the beginning of the semester, but I didn't use. It's called MCAT for Victory. They have one for chemistry and physics, biology and biochemistry, psychology and sociology. Maybe I'll use it, but I need to change the settings for it, because right now I'm doing 200 new cards a day, and that's just not realistic. So I can probably get done 60, but then we have 3. Let's do 30 new cards a day. Now I should put in my schedule that I complete 90 new Anki deck cards a day, and that should take me about an hour every day. And for now, this may be the only Anki that I use for my MCAT prep. The goal is to not create my own Anki deck, because that just takes too much time. But you guys can see that this one here wow, look how beautiful that is. Like, it's already created for you. So again, this is called MCAT, or is it called, what is it called? MCAT for Victory. And again, somebody in my program just told me about it and I downloaded it. I need to figure out how many cards are in each deck, where I can make sure that I finish the entire deck before my test date. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Anywho, one of the reasons why I mentioned that is because yesterday, part of my to-do list, I reached out to an M1 student who, she's not my personal mentor, but she did a MCAT prep meeting with a couple of us, and or at least the meharry med students. She talked about how she created a psychology and sociology anki deck for her MCAT studying, specifically from UWorld questions. So I'm still trying to decide if I want to purchase a UWorld subscription. I'm about to play around right now with everything with Kaplan and also the AMCAS ones, because I feel like that's a lot of questions and that I only have 6 weeks to study. I don't want to have too many resources and feel overwhelmed. And she scored really high in the psychology, sociology section of the MCAT. So I'm like, if this is what you use to study, then I should use this too so that I could also do well in this section. Anyway, I reached out to her yesterday because she offered to send us the deck, but she forgot. Now that I'm getting started, I reminded her. She reached back out to me. She was so nice and sweet, and she literally gave me the deck. So again, it takes so much time to create your own anki deck. If you can get it from somebody else, or ones that are pre-made, it's literally godsend. He just dropped it in our group chat and now I'm about to download it, and I'm just so blessed, excited. Like, this is a bomb deck. Like, another perk to being in this MHS program, you really feel like you don't have to do things alone.
Right? And that's what we're talking about here, right? So here's an electron leaving the hydride, physics, but it can also cross over to chemistry, biochemistry, maybe even a teeny tad biology.
Hello again from me and my Christmas tree, which I love. I'm sitting down to do a meharry guided meeting. This one is about test taking strategies as well as like testing anxiety, which I think is really nice of them to offer this, especially coming from my personal experience. So I'm curious to learn about what they're going to share with us. This one is not with the admissions team, which is normally when we have these like specific meetings specifically for the medical school students. And this one is also like not on Zoom, it's on Microsoft Teams. So I don't exactly know who's going to talk to us. Maybe the people at SEDS, which is the career education and development, something like that.
Its capacity. So I'm looking forward to helping you all out throughout your journey. Like I said, this presentation will be just a little introduction to things I'm going to be doing while I'm here. So.
Hey y'all, okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I started creating my MCAT study schedule and I got super overwhelmed today. Like, it was a lot trying to figure out how I was gonna get all of the information from the books, the MCAT study schedule, all the different resources, like how I was going to break that down every day and get it done in a realistic way in 6 weeks, in a way that was giving me a lot of practice questions, etc., etc. Like, I was looking at other people's schedules and I was like gonna copy one girl's and then like make it my own, but then I just didn't like how both of them did theirs, so I basically ended up combining theirs and making my own, and it took forever. Ended up separating it to where I separated per week and then per day, 3 to 5, sometimes 6 chapters a day, and that like varies. So it may be like 3 from biochemistry and then like 2 from physics, but it's not usually that heavy hitting. So maybe like 2 from biology and then like 1 from physics and 1 from the behavioral sciences or psychology, sociology, or whatever. I'm not explaining this well because it's not confusing, but like my head is spinning, But basically Kaplan itself, I logged on, I went through like the welcome courses and stuff. It does give you like your own schedule. So it'll be like review amino acids or whatever, a pre-test for you to test your knowledge. And then once you go through the videos, it'll give you practice questions or like a practice quiz. The goal is to do the chapter pre-test, and then there's like a chapter sheet that somebody from earlier in my program, the MHS program, created. So I'm gonna like go over the chapter sheet. Then I'm going to skim the chapter to fill in any blanks that I have, and then watch the videos. It's just like for clarity of what I need to get from what's like high yield from that chapter and those topics. Then I'm going to go through the Kaplan Q banks. Now the goal is to do 100 questions a day, right? That's what everybody's been saying, 100 questions a day. But if you're doing like 3 to 4 topics, then that should mean about 30 to 40 questions a day. So my goal is to do like 30 questions per chapter, like per section or per topic. Hopefully I can find that many, but that's the goal. And I'm going to be using the Kaplan Q bank to do those questions. After I finish the questions, I'm going to review them and then move on to the next chapter. Then I'm going to do the post quiz, and if I pass the post quiz, then I move on, and if I don't pass it, then I'll go back and fill it in. So I showed you guys before, I'll show you again, and now it's finally time to use them. My MCAT books. I do have the ones from Princeton, but I'm gonna basically just use the ones from Kaplan. And I barely went through and read my Princeton books. I would sometimes, but it was hard because I didn't like purposely try to like go through the Princeton books beginning to end. I'd be like, I really need more information on isomers. Like, let me look in my chemistry book and see if I can find something and read about it. Or from like, I really want practice questions, let me go in and see if they have practice questions on isomers. That's how I used my books last time. But overall, because I was using the integrative MCAT tutoring program last time, I was using a lot of their resources, which was AAMC or like notes from classes that we would take. And I think that's why I really didn't do a lot of practice problems, because even though they would have like maybe some practice problems during our class time, like MCAT practice questions, 30 of them based off of like one topic, or that like interweave multiple topics, which is what Kaplan claims to do. So I'm hoping this method works. I'm hoping it works. After I finish all of those, I'm going to do 4 to 5 CARS passages a day. I'm going to be using the Kaplan Q bank, and then once I finish those, and they have a lot of them, like they have about 11 full-length exams. After I do my 4 to 5 different CARS passages, then I'm going to complete my Anki decks. I will be putting it on my schedule, the live classes, and we'll see if I feel like the information is helpful. But most likely I will go back at that time and I'll watch a video that correlates with it that's already been recorded. That way I can watch it faster, because 3 hours is just too long to be sitting there and listening to somebody live. Like, I've got to listen to it in multiple speed. Time is of the essence. And I'm also going to be completing an amino acid Anki deck that's on Jack Weston, because I really struggle with my amino acids. I've learned them over and over and over again, and I can tell that they're not in my memory or my long-term memory, because I forget them. Like, I remember, then I forget, then I study, and then I remember, then I forget. They're like somewhat familiar, but I want to like know them, no doubt, because you know that you're gonna get at least like 3 amino acid questions on your exam. That is my everyday workflow. We'll make changes as we go to see like, is this realistic to be able to do every day? Multiple chapters, 4 to 5 CARS passages, 4 or 5 Anki decks. Now the Anki decks are 30 questions a day. I can get through those pretty quickly, especially if I keep up with it. But we shall see. Honestly, we shall see. I'll be using all of the AAMC practice exams, and then I think Kaplan full length 1, 2, and 3. And I did complete the AAMC practice exam 1 yesterday for my diagnostic test. Basically my schedule goes to where Monday through Thursday I'll study and do about 100 questions a day and 4 different Anki decks. On Friday I'll take a full-length practice test, and then on Saturday I will review my entire test, and then Sunday will be my off/rest day, a little Sabbath, if you will, as Jesus would have it. Now I've decided not to purchase UWorld, and I'm just going to be using Kaplan questions. If I feel like after taking maybe another full length that the Kaplan questions aren't hitting, then maybe I'll consider doing the UWorld ones. But for now, I have a lot of Kaplan resources so I want to use them. Oh, also later on in my schedule, I do have it mapped out to where I will be using the AAMC official question guide, which has like 30 questions per sections, the AAMC section bank for chem, phys, biochem, and psychology, sociology. And then way at the end, I'm going to complete the CARS question packs and the AAMC flashcards, which they have 25 for each section. Actually, no, they have 25 for chem, biology, physics, psychology, sociology, and biochemistry. Kaplan also has flashcards. I'm not sure, and they have them for 6 different topics. I'm not sure where I'm going to fit those in at this time because I'm already going to be doing flashcards from Anki, but we'll see. And also, I put on my schedule the AAMC science question pack. So once I complete like all the chapters, I mean, think about it, there's 12 chapters. I'm completing about 4 a day. I have 6 weeks. Like, it's only going to take me about 2 to 3 weeks to get through all the chapters if I stay on time. So if that's the case, then the other weeks is when I'm going to go into the AAMC materials and start doing their question packs and section banks and things like that. My workflow, like, I felt like a crazy person trying to figure it out. I kind of wish I would have done this sooner because this kind of overwhelms me, and it made me a little bit like mentally, not drained, but kind of like I'm just a little overwhelmed to be honest. But it's done now. So I did a couple of the things in my Kaplan stuff that I need to like get started, and I attended the live class. I also went to the preparing for medical school live, which I think I told you guys about, right? That was with some other admission specialists. I'm like, how many of y'all are there? But it's nice, we have these meetings at this point like pretty often, so if we ever have any questions, we can always get them answered directly. There's really nothing new for me to share with you guys other than just kind of like some interview tips that they gave us, but I'm like, let's finish the MCAT before we start worrying about the interview, in my personal opinion. I also signed up to take the Casper a while ago, and that's coming up. Their Casper's due December 15th. So the last date to take it was December 8th. So I think it's like next week. So I'm literally going to take the Casper next week. I did take it last time, and I just like winged it, and I didn't score amazingly, so I should probably look into figuring that out. And I mean, it only takes a couple of hours, so I don't need to like cancel my whole day for that. And one thing that they did share with us is that so far they have 7,300 applicants for this year, and they have a class of 115. But that technically our spots are reserved. They're like, if you complete what you need to complete for the contract, like, you have a spot in the medical class. So that's great news because numbers scare me. Also today we had the meeting with, I think he was a part of the psychology department. Conversation, we talked about how, you know, having anxiety and fears are realistic. There's obviously like a lot of pressure when it comes to this exam, especially for us. Like, I've taken this exam multiple times now, and I want to make sure that I do well because it's like the last thing that's stopping me from completing my contract, getting into medical school, getting that acceptance, etc. So recognizing that my fears are valid, like they're realistic, but then also like they should be used for good in order to motivate me. I think for me, my main problem with anxiety is that I freeze with it. Like, I can get very like, oh my god, like that's kind of how it was past week. I didn't have anxiety about taking the full-length exam. I was really just tired, but then I also was like procrastinating it a lot because I just didn't want like to start the process, and that's like a part of that like freeze. Like, you know, I was like fight or flight. Oh, it's been a long day. Fight or flight or freeze, and I'd be freezing. I'd just be like stuck. Kind of working on positive self-talk throughout this process, doing the work that way when the time comes, you're like, I've done all that I can do, I feel good about it. You know, when you cram or you wait till last minute or whatever, that's when you're kind of even more self-conscious about yourself. You don't have as much faith or confidence. Definitely being in my word during this time, making sure that I'm journaling every day, doing my devotionals, again, taking care of like my mind, my body, and my soul. So like doing my skincare every morning and night, showering every day, because I don't like to do that when I'm like just in my apartment by myself, especially like it's like during finals week. It's just like, who's gonna smell me? Like, it's just good for yourself to take a shower every day, Brelynn. And I ain't dirty, to mind your business, okay? I just do what I do. Anyway, and getting back to the gym, like I haven't been in the gym. I mean, it's literally a couple of days after Thanksgiving. I'm giving myself some grace. Next week we're starting off strong, okay? Next week we're gonna get in the gym, taking care of our mind, our body, our spirit, our soul, everything, as we become Dr. Brelynn. If you guys want to join me on this journey, make sure you subscribe to this channel, ring the bell, that way you don't miss a notification from me. Live each day to the fullest, because you only live once. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.